Shout out to everybody here on the live. No days off. Amazing move here. 89,550. Bitcoin getting a massive pump. Can it hit 90,005? It looks like that's the target. Massive short squeeze on this low volume December. You blink and you will miss it. Everyone's going to FOMO back in at the worst times. They're all going to wish they were in the group the whole time. Trust me, I've been through this so many times. Keep pushing. Don't give up. Don't give up. Shout out to everybody here on the live stream. Bitcoin pumping 90,172. Back to the upside. Taking the shorts out. Blasting them to the upside. Unbelievable. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. I caught a little bit of a long, not as much as I would like. About a $300 move. I went in at 86.9 and out at 88,000. I had a limit order set. I don't even know why it was so small. I had two different exchanges open. That thing started to fly. Let's talk about what's happening to Bitcoin, and that is right here. If you want to take a look right here on weeks, that is my signal. We talk about buying the 21 when we're above the 200 moving average, the 5-minute time frame, and a massive move to the upside for Bitcoin. Looks like it's not looking back. Could this be the bounce that we're all looking for? Could this be the hidden bullish divergence that I keep mentioning on the monthly playing out? Is this what's happening on the bigger time frames? As I keep saying, the one thing that just boggles my mind, the fear and greed index. It was at 10, then it was at 11. I've never seen that not be the bottom. Every single time I've seen Bitcoin hit a low like that, I mean, this index hit a low like that, that is the bottom for Bitcoin. It's done it like 7 times in my life. Every single time it's been right in the last like 10 years. It's been amazing. So this thing doesn't miss, man. And when that thing went to an 11 just the other day, I felt like that was the last chance to buy BTC. I could be wrong. But man, the whole world's bearish, and I'm looking at an indicator that tells me that this is the best time to buy Bitcoin in the history of Bitcoin's life. So comparatively to all my probability, so it nothing truly makes sense. We're back above the 3-day 200 moving average. Sam is back to a bull again. I know, it's weird, right? But as long as I'm above that 200 moving average, I stay bullish. So let's see what's happened. I would be taking profits right now. We're likely in a bit of a short squeeze. We're going to come down and find some level here. But nice pump for Bitcoin on the morning. I told you it pumps every time I show up, baby. Let's go. And a nice pump there. And this one started at about like 9:10, 9:15 and pumped all the way until the show began. Shout out to all my lifers. God bless everybody here. Everyone's wondering what's happening. Did you miss the move? Who, wah, 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 wee, wah, yeah. Yes. Who, what, when, where, how, and what. They're printing money. More and more people know that Bitcoin is the ishnay, and it's going further to the upsnay. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I just think buying BTC at these levels is probably the best idea. But anyway, people are going to do whatever makes them happy. All right? So this is what I'm looking at. And then you have resistance coming at 92,000. So I DCA in the fear. And even, like I'm ready to go all the way to 50K. Like I'm ready to DCA to 50K. Let's talk about what just happened. Let's break down how it changes the way the candles look. And let's see what's breaking down again. So look, we keep looking for this monthly candle to close a tweezer bottom. We're just looking, it could be a tiny bit of green. I'd like it a bit of a chunkier green, but it doesn't matter as long as it closes green. So every day we come and we look at the monthly chart, and every day we get closer and closer. We are 14 days away here on December 17th. And look, this is a swing down to a swing down. That's a swing up to a swing up. From this wick to that wick, we went all the way back down to the 886. We have bounced off the 786. This is a known retracement. I've seen this so many times on other indicators in my life. Again, it may just make a right shoulder. Sometimes it just makes on one higher high, though. But again, it still suggests that we could get some type of relief rally or a real rally here for Bitcoin. So I've been showing this over and over again. This tells me to begin a long-term DCA and be ready. If it turns into a multi-year bear market, we do something like this. I'm ready for 48,000. I'll pull a fib here, and we'll come down into this fib, maybe a wick to 39K. I'm ready to just continue to buy BTC throughout this area. If it's a bounce, I bought the best price possible. So I buy these areas no matter what, because to me, it's just what has to be done. Okay? It's just what has to be done. So whenever the fear and greed, anywhere between 10, 9, I mean, again, you do whatever makes you happy. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. But my goodness, these prices are very, very interesting. Okay? And the volatility is insane too. Just be careful. All right? So we're going to continue our top-down analysis, and we may make a live trade later on if we find something in our pocket. But right now, because the move is so fast, usually there's a pullback now. And the time to take profits was at that 90,300. I mean, that was you're overblown. And you got to start understanding that. I'm going to teach you that. How do you know when you're overblown? How do you know when it's time to sell? I'm going to teach you how to use the 21-day moving average today to find out when you should be selling, okay? I'm going to teach you. You're going to have for the rest of your life after you're with me, you're never going to, when you sell, you're going to be like, you know what? 80% of the time I'm right, so you're never going to stress it again. Sometimes you're going to sell, it's going to pump, but most of the time it will not. Why? Because I backtested what I taught you. I've seen it for years on multiple assets, and I've backtested on many different assets that don't correlate, like on orange juice and, you know, cattle feed and, you know, oil and gold and Bitcoin and some random little altcoin and a meme named Joe. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. There isn't a meme named Joe. There probably is a meme named Joe. I'm just made it up. But the whole point is it doesn't matter the asset. Forex, what I teach you, you can trade any asset in the world. So stick with me. I cover everything. My trading style will span every single asset. You'll be able to nail it. So let's talk about the weekly. Let's talk about that we have support there at 78.5. Let's talk about resistance that becomes support. And we all know this on big time frames. Resistance, that's a tweezer top. We had support, we bounced. You can actually move this up because we front ran that. So we have support for Bitcoin. And you can see when this candle opened at 86,820. So we got support at $86,820 for BTC. And we tested it. We tested it this week and we flipped back to a possible tweezer top, tweezer bottom. I'm telling you right now, a long right now is so risky, but it's still possible with a man right here, and we just go back to the upside. Looks like it's a possibility for BTC. It looks like it's a possibility, right? We go for the gusto, baby. So, and again, I think bigger time frame longs right now are the play. They're very hard. They're taking a long time to play out. They're toying with the heartstrings. But if I can just open a trade and just let it sit, that's the key. The people that can do that make the most money. It's not about the day-to-day. It's about being able to see the bigger move and being patient, right? So to me, that's a viable trade right there on the bigger time frame. For the long-term trader, someone that works a lot, someone that doesn't have every day to be in and out of the market, someone that wants to open up a trade, check it every couple of days, see what they're doing, and, and that could be, you could make 8 trades a year, 8 to 12 trades a year. People don't realize, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just got to be right. Trading on Coinbase just got a notification that some services, interesting. Don't care until we see open air. These prices are gifts. Thanks for the discount, paper hands. Amen. I love you, brother. Amen. Exactly. Sam, what do you think about Japan hiking rates? Everyone thinks it's going to slaughter Bitcoin. I think it was front ran. And to be honest, what it does, it's the opposite. I'm going to tell you why it's going to do the opposite what people think for Bitcoin and why you shouldn't be repeating the narrative that you hear every single day. All right? And we're going to have fun with that in a little while. So just remind me, Japan narrative. So again, this made sense. The 5-day chart, we talked about being in a bit of a bull, a bear flag. I said, even if it bounces to the top of the flag. Now, if it can close, we want to see a rip right back to 100K. Could we get to 100,000 by the end of December? And we're going to run a poll here just to kind of see the vibes here. Okay? Will Bitcoin hit 100K by the end of December? Will Bitcoin hit 100K by the end of December? Yes or no? Okay? And we got a poll cooking here. If you want to run on in, check and hit that poll. We'd greatly appreciate that. Shows viewership, participation. It's fun. Okay, so yeah. We bounced. We teaser bottomed on the 5-day chart, which is also a higher low. Agreed? That's your low. That would be a higher low on a macro, but it still, to me, is a potential bear flag. I think it's better to think, even if we reverse, because I'll catch the reversal on the 4-hour and the 1-hour. My indicators will get us in. That's why I know I don't have to stress. My indicators, I'll watch every day. I'm going to do a top-down analysis 2 to 3 times, and I'm going to be watching the charts on top of that. And I'm going to see the 1 minute all the way to the monthly every day, twice. So I'm not going to stress because I'm going to see the move that needs to be made, or I'm going to see the time frame that I have to watch that's going to give me the move. If we get it, we get it. So that's the beauty of my trading styles. We can look at the trend and accept the trend, but we can be some of the first people to actually counter trade the trend. when no one else will, we'll be the first to be in a long. And they'll be like, how was Sam longing? Like, how did Sam know it was going to, how does Sam do this every single time? The everyday hitter never quitter. The everyday hitter never quitter. Because we just focus. You will see. This channel is about you and your growth. We're going to show you every single day how to grow. My name's Sam Price. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in. If you're new, if you're OG, thank you for being here. And if you've been around just a couple months or a couple weeks, just keep coming back. It's going to become more and more clear to you why people love this channel. So tweezer bottom here on the 5-day chart. That's strength. Like 3-day back above the 200 moving average. And now you can say, okay, close the candle now tonight. And we got support at 88,000. But we got to close the candle. And even then, I'm still not a fan. I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is the best move ever. I mean, it's could almost be a bearish retest, right? Like, it's still, to me, pretty trashy. Yeah, we could just say it's like it's like coming in for the bearish retest in a way. Hard to say. Some people want to, I can't, to put that in a channel like this is just, no. To me, it was like possibly in an ascending triangle like this, and it lost the sauce. That makes the most sense to me. You could say kind of a cup and handle with a very strange, like, jagged edge there. And, a bit of a flag that could be breaking out, but you could also see it as a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, right? Only thing, though, there is a double bottom here. You'd break up. And I do love this gap in the VRVP, and I like this fast move. And I thought we were going to eat the move here and eat the move here. But, like, we kept getting rejected by $94,000, right? So that's the idea is, wow. I mean, if you look at it, the daily put in the tweezer bottom. It closed last night at 8 p.m. Once that closed, you get into the long with the stop below the 2 wicks, and you go to bed. And you're still in the money right now. You see, simple trading with I just started trading with candles. It changed my life. I don't know why. Like, one day I saw it, and I was like, how come I haven't done this before? You know what I mean? I was like, why was I staring at you know what I mean? Usually, and the tweezer bottom is going to coincide with my other indicators, which is going to be away from the 21 on the top side or the low side. If you look at it, it kind of has shoulder, head, and shoulder vibes. It's kind of, yeah. So we'll see. Bitcoin is fighting right now to hold this level, this double bottom level there, 85. And it's attempting to make a higher high. Like, it's got to break above 94,000, though. You see this? Like, this is just, it's got to establish a candle up above this area, above these high volume nodes, bust through. One path I do see is a shoulder, a head, and a possible right shoulder. Like, we could say it broke back inside the pattern and all this gabagoo, right? Could technically be the trajectory. You got to get back inside the pattern. So you could be bearishly retesting now for a massive dump, and we're going to figure this out based on the pattern. Now, remember what I told you, by the end of the stream, you're going to know when to buy and sell for the rest of your life. Now, if you decide not to listen to me, you're just going to keep kicking yourself till you come back to the channel. So what I teach you, the only thing about being here, and I don't want to scare you, is, that old saying, once you know something, then you can't make the same mistake again. Once you come to this channel and learn with me, you can't act like you don't know what you know, okay? So you will lose more because it's just kind of how it happens. And again, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say, but it's funny how that works, right? In life, it's the same way. Like if you learn about certain types of people and you see the signs that person is kind of the same type of person as you've seen before, but you still stick around and then you go through the pain. Right? It's your fault, right? It's like you already knew what was going on and you did it anyway. Like, so similar, okay? Classes in session, pay attention, Mr. Price. Thank you. If something breaks a trend, do you redraw the trend line or do you just wait to see? To me, it's about how many touches you got. You can't just say, okay, this is the trend line now. That doesn't work for me. You got to keep it real to yourself. There has to be a line in the sand for you where you can't just change the trend line. That's why when people say, oh, but pattern traders just change the pattern. No. There's the time when you just can't change the pattern. Like, you can't. You got to say, this is it. This has to break back above. I'm excited. There could be a nice little move here coming up. 12 hour, and we milk this long-term analysis. I love it. The top down. I just really, there's certain I'll just explain. I use the monthly, the weekly. I look at the 2-week too. I like the 2-week. It gives me a lot of insight. The 5-day, the 3-day, the daily, the 22, the 12, the 8, the 4, the 1, the 15, the 5, the 1 minute. All right. And you're like, why? Why those times? I honestly, it's just, they've given me so much insight throughout my life, and now my brain has categorized them, and they just make sense to me. Look at that. That's a bullish engulfing candle in the 12-hour time frame. That's beautiful. Everyone thinks they have to jump into the move. You don't. You can get an established move and then find a nice scalp on a smaller time frame. And again, the 4-hour to the what? To the 200 moving average. Now, we've seen this story before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 time now. We've really come into the 200 since December 9th. So we've got to establish a move back above the 200 moving average. And you can see what a beautiful move it is. Let me kind of show you how this works. Like, you take the length, right? And you can kind of see, it actually says there may be some more here. Why? Well, you can see that's an inverted head and shoulder. You see it? And you'd say, no, it isn't. No one would see that, Sam. Only a Jedi Master would see that. That's and what we call this is a slanted, drunken, inverted head and shoulder. A slanted, drunken, inverted head and shoulder. What is a drunken pattern? A drunken pattern is a pattern that's there, but it's just a little harder to see. So in trading, we call it drunken. So like, yes, you have your inverted head and shoulder, but then you'll have your kind of like, like squaggly, like just like, and that's like a drunken inverted head and shoulder. They play out just the same. Price action does not matter where the axis is, the axes, however you want to say it, like the actual line of control of that pattern. Meaning, if you don't understand what I'm saying, is like this is the axis line of this pattern, right? But sometimes the pattern can be very twisted, and this could be the axis, and it goes up diagonally. It doesn't matter, right? Price goes from here to there, price goes from there to there. Same, same thing here. You've ever seen a real twisted one? I've seen ones like this that break down. They don't, you know what I mean? Or they're completely like this, like they're kind of slanted down, and they still break down. So remember, patterns aren't always laterally exactly on your axis, the way you're standing straight up. They change and move and bop and weave, but their information is there. And you could say, well, who would have given this? What trading group would have seen that? I don't believe it. And it's like, well, mine, If you were hanging out with the lifer this morning and all night last night, Lily, I was going through the charts all night. They were very confusing. First thing I saw was my model this morning on the 1 minute time frame. They made an inverted head and shoulder here, and they did break it up. But then they broke it right back down, and then they broke it back up. My stop loss was down here. My take profit was up there. I ended up hitting a take profit for $300, and then it just kept ripping. I shouldn't beat myself up. I'm still proud that I actually made gains in an insane morning, right? Look, they didn't get me. And why didn't they get me? I'll talk about it in a second. I made a bigger idea. But look, then you get the W, and a W is supposed to break out the length from here to there. You pull that up, and that's the exact target of the W, which is crazy, right? Like, it makes a W. And here I am showing you the inverted head and shoulder that wants to rip, right? It wants to rip up to that key area. We're at 89.8. Telling you tonight, really 90,146 is like the target. That's the point of control. That's the 200 moving average on the 1 hour time frame. There's a gap in the VRVP, shoulder, head, right shoulder. You can see the move to the upside. The stochastics are curving, the MACD is curving, and you just got above the yellow line on the RSI. These are indications you want to start writing down. Write down a break above the yellow line on the RSI. Use the RSI with the yellow line. Use the MACD turning, blue line curving, lack of bearish momentum. The hill was very small compared to the last hill. It told you that the Bears had weaker momentum. This visualization on the MACD gives you the code. It tells you the basically confluence about where the Bears are. And then this curve up on the stochastics RSI. I love the stochastics RSI. And boom. The move already started early, but that didn't mean, you know what I mean? And then boom, this thing just decided to launch. But it was all written there, right? And even there, you can see with the stop loss here, this would never got hit. The stop loss right there at 86,005, you could still be in this trade, right? And that's just taking the model with a deep stop loss below the 200 on the 1 minute time frame. And it's just crazy. The 21 and the 200 still playing out, right? Then this one, actually, they stop hunted this one. Sad to say, it looks so beautiful. It was like a perfect bull flag. They stop hunted that one. So I went on this one, got stop hunted out, but on this one it kept running, right? So, and then I saw how big the candle got. And, you know, there's my typo as usual. But look, the model playing out on the 21. What is the model? Well, a model is something that you can see over and over again. And I found this on multiple assets throughout the world. It happens all the time. It doesn't matter. And look, there's that same idea, that inverted head and shoulder breaking out. So beautiful, right? So amazing. And the stop loss at the proper place, below 85.7. No stop loss got hit right there in the deep areas. So whenever I make the trade bigger than it's supposed to be, and that's what I'm going to talk about in a second, what does that mean? I call it enveloping a trade, if that makes sense. And enveloping a trade, like, you know, an envelope. You put something in an envelope, it's like on top, it's like inside, it's encompassed. And I'm expecting this move back down. We're going to talk about the two things: when to sell and why. At the end of this, you're going to know when to sell and why. And for the rest of your life, if you make that mistake, it's on you. I'm going to teach you. You only need one session with me to understand what to do. Then you can just not listen to me or listen to me. I know it sounds pompous and rude. I would be like, whoa. But once you understand, after years of sitting with me, you're going to be like, man, this man was spot on. Why is it moving back down from 90,003? I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to show you why. Remember when I said to sell at 90,000? I mean, again, you do whatever makes you happy, but that's when you want to unload. Again, the 200 moving average has been notorious for a perfect sell too. Whenever we hit it, look, the odds of you sold there, a pump up to there, every time you had sold that 4-hour 200 moving average, it's so you get in when the 1 hour breaks the 200. You sell when you hit the 4 hour. This is actually another phenomenon that I've talked about, using the 200 through multiple time frames. That's another skill set that I teach in the trading group. So there's just so much stuff to be had to learn. I can't give it all today on the live stream. I wish I could. Or if I give it all, it's glimpses. But if you sit with me every day, things are going to regurgitate, and we're going to revisit them and recircle you. And eventually that consistency that you put in the market will pay you back. You'll learn the market with me. If you really want to go hard, hang out with someone that goes as hard as I do. If you want to take it lightly, go hang out on a light live stream, someone that just kind of comes in and out, little, you know what I mean? A little dainty live. But if you want to take it to the next level, if you believe in yourself, you want to actually tackle this market and see how you can trade almost any asset in the world, then saddle up with the Crypto Lifers. Like, get so real that it becomes your life, like it's ours, and never stop. All right. We gave you the gold trade that's beautifully up now, over 42%. We gave you the Tesla call up 263%. We told you we're going to turn $2,000 into $20,000. And now you can see gold inside of an inverted head and shoulder, likely about to take a massive pump. You can see that's an ascending triangle. Okay, in a beautiful uptrend with people fiending and printing money and QE coming, and you know what I mean? Just a lot of pressure on the dollar. This tells me that the gold is likely going to go further. The lower the dollar, the lower the debt, right? And if you can balance the debt off. So that tells me a move up to 4,500 is likely for gold. That's going to push this trade higher and higher. Eventually, we'll be able to move the stop, right? It was a $2,000 trade for 11,000. You see, we're risking, it's basically a 5-to-1 risk-reward ratio on this trade. This is going to take a long time. We're trading the bigger flag. Understand? When you trade, we're trading this breakout here and the measured move to the, you know, even, you know, again, we might even take profits at 575, but there's a big measured move there. I like the whole length of this. Bang. Because that's really your next leg. So, and I believe I'm going to start, as this expands, I'm going to start trading other moves on gold. But man, yeah, I traded gold for years. And I know you might be like, I haven't seen, man, this guy trade gold. I traded gold for years. That's how I started trading. My story started when I started trading Direxion Daily. I'll show you what it is. Direxion Daily ETF. Okay, so, all right, there's two things I wanted to talk about. You guys got to remind me what we went over today. Oh, I got to talk about, no, three things. I got to tell you why everyone who is wrong about the Japan carry trade, number one, right? And I'm going to break down my reasoning and why. And I'm going to explain it very logically. It's going to make sense to you. Number two, I'm going to talk about when to sell and why, and how at the end of this stream, you should basically know when to sell for the rest of your life on any asset. And if you don't, you're just going to have to learn the hard way. And what was the third thing? There was something else I wanted to bring up that I just talked about, said that we want to revisit to make sure we nailed it for the day. Anybody remember what that would be? Trading in the 80s, all equities measures in. I know some of you are going to remember because you people are awesome. I've been moving so fast in my mind, I can't grasp what I just said. Yeah. Like in the past. I know what I said now. Well, do I even? Who knows? Act like you didn't hear that. AI Cyclones seek new coins staking on their website. Interesting. Okay, Bitcoin is a double pullback. Why price comes back down? No, that's what we're going to handle price back down. We talked. I know that one. The week's referral link is right here at the top. You can click it here on this pinned comment. It's so simple for you. Jump on it. All right. No, Japan interest rates, when to sell. There was a third one though. There was a third one. Yeah. But it's going to say, yeah, exactly. I can't. Dang. Let's see. I want to see who's listening. You guys need to be, I bought a NVIDIA this morning only for, it's getting started. You're funny. Anyway, I'll keep it moving. Oh yeah, SMA in different time frames. That's exactly. Yeah, you're spot on. You're spot on. SMA in different time frames. Okay, so the first thing. For your rest of your life, if you would like to be a day trader, if you would like to be an intraday swing trader, if you want to trade the 4-day or the 5-day chart and hold on to your trades for 6 months. If you want to be a long-term investor, just buy things you believe in and you don't have to look at the charts that much. Okay, I mean, just another thing. You just believe in it. It's fun to look at the charts, but what's the point? If you think you're going to be in it for 10 years, just get ready for a 10-year hold and know that the charts are going to be there eventually. They're going to meet you eventually where you want to be. And there's going to be ups and downs in those charts. I'm really blessed to be there with BTC, but I feel like God gives that to you, or just even the universe, or just even just life, when you put in a lot of work into one thing. Like I stayed investing in BTC for years, the same thing over and over again. Now, I'm so far away from my basis point that I don't stress the ups and downs. So the point that I want to look at this Adam and Eve double bottom that Bitcoin made. That's called an Adam and Eve. And then lately, I'm telling you, the Adam and Eve almost always has this little flag now. It didn't always. Now it has this flag every time. It's so weird. Look, there's an Adam and Eve double bottom on the 15-minute for Bitcoin. And then, look, it gets above the 200, does a retest of the 21, and moves up. Now, what happens here, look, this is a short squeeze. Anytime you're on a small time frame, 1 minute to the 15-minute, heck, even on the 1 hour, and you see a candle that big, that fast, you got and then you look at the last few candles. And remember how fast this move was? So it's like, it just kind of told you there was a move. And remember, they call me Sammy Cup and Handy. Why do they call me Sammy Cup and Handy? Not because of what you're going to think. And don't laugh. Samuel Cup and Handle, we had to change it to, right? Because we don't want to be, you know what I mean? Because I was watching coins and I was waiting to get into coins, and I would watch them do these like straight line blasts to the upside. And whenever I saw a straight blast, it was always out the right handle. It was always a cup with a handle. And then I learned too, the shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, that was the cup and handle. Another thing that I learned, like in a really good market, price will come up. Check this out. Price will come up. This is amazing. Price will come up, boom, come down, come up, right? Liquidate the people that thought they went long, right? Come back up. Then everyone goes long again and puts a stop loss near here. And then they come and grab those people again. Then so look, price comes up. All right. People think it's time to short. So they all build a short here. And they start to bring the shorts in, and they get more people to short, more people. And then the late shorts come in, and then they go up and grab the late shorts. At that point, everyone thinks it's the high or low. So they jump on it and they get hit. And so then they all go long. So now you have the late shorts with their stop losses here. And you have everyone that just went long right here. So they go up and they get the late shorts. Then they come back down and get all the late longs. Now, at this point, they draw in more shorts. Some of these people revenge trade back into the short. Oh, it's lower now. It's really happening. So now this is all the short stop losses again. And then here's all the people that definitely go long. If they can see an inverted head and shoulder and they call the tweezer tops. These are the smart people. There's divergence here. Okay. So then they go up and get the late shorts again. Then they start to dump again. These people still short again because they're just out of their minds. Okay. At this point, the higher low pulls up. People that late longed here get cleaned out. So there's a bunch of people that jump in green candles here. They have to get cleaned out. That's the right shoulder. Then this comes up. And what does it do? It clears out the late shorts that jump in here. And at this point, there's just too much liquidity. And then all these people are still here the whole time. And they've been adding to their shorts, adding to their shorts. And then and that's why an inverted head and shoulder plays out. You see, an inverted head and shoulder is an ascending triangle. And it's a cup and handle. There's a cup and handle inside, and all this stuff plays out together. Okay? Understand? Oh, yeah, I'm going to show you what I use to trade gold and silver, too. You guys are awesome. Whenever I say something, oh, yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. Wow, but we're back to 88.4 now, and that was likely. Why was that likely? Number one, we have a soft order book, meaning we have a holiday order book. What is a holiday order book? A holiday order book is when you're near or close to an event that tires the market, okay? The end of the year, tax season, you know what I mean? Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Day, like, you know what I mean? These are places that tire the market. There's not a lot of participants. The liquidity is low, and people with a lot of money that are in the market anyway can move the money around a little better, and they can crush the order book. The order book is what's called light. There's less orders. You see what I mean? It's like a ladder. Picture a ladder where you have to walk from each rung, right? And say you just had to touch each ring. But what if there was just a ladder with like a ring here and then just like a rung there, and you had to slide down really quick, and like you didn't have anything down here? That's a light order book. So if you're having trouble understanding what I'm talking about, use this analogy as the ladder. So a guy with a big fat guy, which is a whale, he can slide down that ladder really fast now and come and even probably break this rung if he needs to. You see? So when to sell and why for the rest of your life, all right, by Sam Price. And I'll turn this into another video, but how to use the 21-day moving average like a boss should be the title of the video. And you know what I'm going to do actually is turn off the sound and give this a recording. All right. We'll do it exactly as I would if I could do it. And I believe, oh wow, I can't change that. Interesting. Huh. All right, no worries. Well, let's see what we can get. Hi, my name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and today I want to teach you how to trade the 21 moving average like a boss. Yeah, that's right, on any time frame, on any asset around the world. Jump on in with me. Let's break it down. Let's have some fun. I don't want to waste your time. Let's see if we can get this done in under 5 minutes. Okay, so today Bitcoin took a pump, and it really doesn't matter the day, but right now we're watching Bitcoin, and it took a pump away from the 21-day moving average. This is this white line right here. How do you add the 21? Well, you would go up here. You can type in MA. Okay, and you can put in moving average, simple moving average, or you can type in CBC 5MA DRS. Click on that. That's what I would like you to do. Click on that, and that's going to give you 5 moving averages. The white, which is 21, the red, which is the 50, the purpley pink, I'm a little colorblind, but I believe it's purple, which is 80, and the blue, which is 100, and the yellow, which is the 200. The main one I want you to focus on is the 21, which is the white line right now. And, we'll get to the 200 on another session, but right now I want you to focus on the 21-day moving average. What I want you to see is every time we get a bit of a short squeeze when you have an abnormally sized candle. If you're trading, it'll be a vector candle, right? You can tell. It would have more volume than the last few candles put together, okay? And again, you want to look at these places where you see a smooth move. For instance, here Bitcoin had a smooth move down. You knew it was going to come back up eventually and take out all these late shorts that were sitting there because it had every time I've seen a smooth move, we get a smooth move back to the upside. That's one thing, inverted head and shoulder. The other thing I want you to understand is every time we get one of these moves, we're going to gap away from the 21-day moving average, this white line. And we're going to have to come back to the 21. And you can see this. We pump, back to the 21 right there. We pump, back to the 21 right there. We pump, back to the 21. We pump back to the 21. The next time you're in a trade and it goes your way, a long specifically, And it can happen short too. You can dump away from the 21. If you flip this upside down, it's the exact same story on the short side. So when you dump very fast with a red candle and you're far away from the 21-day moving average, you should have to tell yourself, man, I'm getting closer to the point where most people, like, I'm extended. You know, I'm getting a lot. I'm getting towards the premium. I'm paying too much. I should start thinking of basically taking profits out of my trade. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. You're going to do whatever makes you happy. And so here again, and I use the 200. When we cross the 200 and we touch the 21, boom, fireworks. It's a known signal of mine anyway. You'll learn it with me if you hang out. The key is look at this squeeze. That was a short squeeze and a half. And we were very far from the 21-day moving average. You can go back and watch this in real time if you get the premium trading view and you basically put this in replay mode. So you'll see the pump and you'll see, look where the 21 is. Look where price action is. I know right now that before the next pump, these have to come together. I don't know how they're going to come together. And I call this the twisted sister. I put both of these together and see what can happen. And I basically look for this idea. If this went sideways, I can long. If this comes down, you can pull a Fibonacci and wait. See if it hits the 786 on a wick. See if it hits the golden pocket. You're waiting for some type of confluence. Here you can see it dipped into the golden pocket and it eventually did get a bit of a high. I mean, with some dips in around the way, but you still would have gotten a nice pump further back up. My whole point is you came back to where the 21-day moving average. Perfect sell when you gap away. Now you might sell here, you might sell there. It doesn't matter to me. Even here, you might sell here or there. The key is you're always in repetition and move, and you're kind of in cycle with the move. By selling with the 21 keeps you, honest, and it lets you realize when you're basically extended. Today, we just had a massive move for Bitcoin. And you can see we got away from the 21 on multiple time frames. The 15-minute gapped way too far away from the 21-day moving average. Whenever I've seen a low volume day, such as last 2 weeks of the year, a Saturday, a weekend, a holiday, and I see his gap far away from the 21-day moving average, it lets me know we're going to come back to it. That was a perfect sell right here had someone been in a long earlier today. So the key is to wait for price action to gap up above the 200 moving average, the yellow line. I wait for the 21 to interact with price. Tends to be a catalyst for a pump. And then once I gap away from the 21, and you can watch the stochastics, they'll also get pretty high on a smaller time frame. So you can use like a 5-minute stochastics RSI, get in at the bottom, they'll get overbought, RSI will get overheated, and you'll be far away from the 21-day moving average. There'll probably be some bear div there too, even on a 1 minute. And, that's a little more advanced. All you really need to know is when you gap away from this white line, you're coming back to it 95% of the time. So if you sell and it continues to pump, that's going to be the anomaly. That's like 1 out of 50 times. So, and it happens. Sometimes I've sold and it just keeps going. And I'm like, man, this isn't supposed to happen. But it eventually is a treacherous downfall coming after that anyway. So never stress selling, in my humble opinion. If for the rest of your life you've been stressing selling, use the 21-day moving average. And when you gap away from it, know that when you sell away from it, you're doing great. Pick your time frame, focus on the move. And, if it's a day trade, just try to get what you can for, if it's a day trade, get what you can for the day. None of that try stuff. Get what you can for the day, win or lose, do or do, there is no try, do or do not. Always want to push that word out of my mind. And, when you're away from the 21, just know you're coming back to it. Sometimes you're coming back to it in a beautiful way. If you're bullish, on a really bullish day with a lot of buy pressure, you're going to stay up here. The 21's going to come hang out, and then you're going to get a beautiful buy signal. But on a regular treachery day with low volume like today, you're going to go up and likely come right back down. So that's just kind of your tutorial on how to use the 21-day moving average in, a speedy way in about under 6 minutes. And thank you so much. Please, if you like what you saw here, please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life. All right, cool. We got that in the batch. That's just a good video for people to kind of understand how to use the 21. Let's get back into the charts. So, wow, what a beautiful short. So you can also short this, okay? And that's kind of another short strategy. You can get out of the long, and if you're selling the long, then it's likely coming back down. Another thing that I started to learn is, so I started watching this strategy, right? And how did I perfect it? Well, I started seeing, it's funny. Check this out. So I watched like 100 pumps that got away from the 21-day moving average, right? Check, this is going to blow your mind. I think this is so cool. So I watched thousands and thousands of pumps. We got away from the 21. Now, sometimes we pumped like this, kind of went a little bit and pumped like that, and we kind of carried the 21 somewhat with us. We were away from it. And that's when I could tell we were likely going to go more lateral. Other times we just kind of went straight up and left the 21 hanging right here. That's when I kind of know we're coming back. So the distance we make from the 21 and the way it kind of carries with price also can give me an indication. Again, it's not perfect. Like this was a 21 above the 200 and a beautiful flag. Things looked good to us, but there was kind of a bear div there still forming. You know, there was some sell pressure. We couldn't get back above 80, even at what, 89,000. So nice pump today for Bitcoin, but look, we gave it all back. So now it's not as much as a bigger signal as it was before. So what I do now is I kind of start fresh again with our, our long-term idea. So still hidden bullish, but that's back to red again, which is funny. It does it like 3 times a day. And then this is back below the 200 moving average, which to me is, back to bearish. And that's why it's important. Like, did we just bearishly retest? That might have been all we just did on the daily time frame. And so look at the daily. And you make this signal and you can see like, yeah, that was basically the trend line. And we just tried to get back inside the trend and we didn't. That could have been a perfect entry for a bear move, right? It's hard to tell on low volume and even if you get the move right, there's a good chance they stop you out. That's why to me it's either a model trade, like a quick in and out like I did this morning when I rocked the 350, or it's a big time frame, just kind of like, and you got to be willing to risk it for the biscuit. Like it's got to be like, well, this is it. Like either they get me out here or I get that there. And you got to be able to put the risk out. To me, like I told you, when you're in a downtrend, when you're below the 200 moving average, when you're, now we're the other way. So this is kind of my signal. You're above the 200, touching the 21. That should technically go further that should carry the trend. We should continue in the way we've been moving. It doesn't mean we're going to for sure. I would love it if we didn't. I'd love this if it digs in as a higher low and we get this double bottom, but you have to assume we're going lower. I think, you're better off going with the... Does everyone understand that? I think I said that the other day, but I just want to make sure that's clear. Like, I'm not a perma bear. I'm not trying to be the most bearish guy in the world. I'm just telling you that, like, it's better off to assume we're going lower. And it's crazy. The inverted head and shoulder broke out. We got a massive pump right to the 200 moving average. And to me, I know these, like everything happened algorithmically, but no love. Like you didn't stay above the resistance that you just broke. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a candle close in the 1 hour, but that's in 2 minutes. And they gave it all back with a bearish engulfer. Right to the 200 moving average. Wow, this has been insane price action. Inverted, twisted, inverted, twisted, drunken, inverted, slanted, twisted, drunken, inverted, slanted, twisted, drunken, inverted, head and shoulder back to the upside to get rejected by the 200 on both the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. Look, it hit it both. So that's strong resistance. And I feel like you're out of the flag already. Tough price action. So now what, Sam? I don't know. I'm taking it in. It's happening as we speak. Like it's dumping in our face as it just pumped in our face. In the last hour, we've seen the two moves exactly, correlated. Look at that. Amazing, right? Wow. I mean, you could look at it here. Shoulder, head, possible right shoulder that takes us further down. Something that I'm looking at that makes sense to me. I don't know for sure, but it's kind of, I think that's the first thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they rip this thing right back to the upside and then just keep ripping. The volatility has been absolutely insane today. But I have to remain more bearish based off what I'm seeing. Even though I don't want to be, I'd like to be a real perma bull here, but the TA's got to sit. I can't fight TA. If I use models and TA to win, then I can't fight them. Like, you know what I mean? You can't use a model to trade and then say, oh, but that's bullish now. You know what I mean? So to me, like, we're still inside this bear flag. And now we're back inside. And you have to act like this never happened. If you made profits, that's great. But you just kind of zero that out. And now just see if this thing breaks down. Target is 81.8. So I got to remain bearish. I got to look at the daily like it's bearishly retesting. You get back above 87.9, then maybe there's a chance there. But damn, that's crazy, right? We were just at 90K. And that's why, you short back to the 21-day moving average. I don't do it every time. Like, why don't you jump into short immediately? That's good volatility. And again, some people in my group do. You'd be surprised, man. I'm getting old, and I've been set in my ways, for whatever, I don't, like, if I make a quick long, I'm not going to just jump back in short for no reason, it's just not my, so, but I have done it, I've gotten out up there, waited, and it's actually a pretty simple idea. Just like I tweezer bottom and talked about it on the daily there, the 50-minute closes next to the 200. The 50-minute closes, next, they're far away from the 200, but they close next to each other. That's a bounce. You see? And so whenever you see red next to a green, it doesn't have to be an engulfing. I just tweezer tops, tweezer bottoms, and there's a move to the downside. And that thing just, hauls butt right back down. So yeah, you act like this never happened. You just act like you hit the top of the channel and you came back down. You kind of have to just omit that. I know it's hard, doesn't make sense, but that's how I've learned how to trade this stuff. And then, maybe, you get a bounce again, but you got to assume that's rolling over after such a valiant attempt to pump. And again, what did we get rejected by? 90,000. And there was a POC. So there's two scenarios, like sideways chop, or you're just going to, like, in the next 10 minutes, we're going to rip right back to the upside. Now, how would you trade that? Well, you look at the 1 minute. Even the 30 second, I feel, too far, a 5 second. It's back to that 5 second. The 5 second has to break above the 200 moving average and gap back up to 89.2. Otherwise, it's going to make like a descending triangle and continue to dump. Why the 5 second? It's just the only thing. Saying lately, I've been really using the 3 and the 5 time frames, and they've been holding me down. Yeah. I love the 3 minute. I used the 3 minute for a long time. I used the 3 and the 7 minute for a long time. Got off the 7 only because not every exchange had the 7. But man, the 7 minute is like a guide. It has some keys and some insight. Like, I've seen things on the 7 I just couldn't see anywhere else. It's quite fascinating, if you ask me. So look, our minds are moving at the speed of light. We're on the 1 minute and projecting yet again. We're not letting time and space hold us back. We're continuing to move. We already know our measured move because we don't hold back. We're not emotional. We just trade like a bot. The bot says that would be your move. So either you're making a nasty right shoulder or you're going all the way right back up. I'll be surprised on a day like today with crazy price. I wouldn't be surprised. We just, then we make some type of flag here. I don't even know. It's one of the biggest assets in the world, $2 trillion. It's moved there so fast. It gets pushed and pulled by so many different, you got Michael Saylor buying, you got nation states, you got states in America buying, you've got new laws and ideas, and it just always seems like it's in the mix. The dollar drops, it moves, gold pumps, you know what I mean? So my whole point is it's connected to almost everything in the world. It's got so its volatility it's because it's connected to everything. Bitcoin has a way of taking everything down that way. So everything has a way of taking Bitcoin up and down in a way. You know what I mean? It's interesting. So we got over the 21-day moving average. We nailed that for you. So look how far away you were on the 7 minute time frame. Like, come on now. You got to understand that when you're making that big a gap away from the white line, you're going to have to come back. Once you understand this and understand it fully, meaning you trade it with kind of, I don't want to say impunity, but you just trade it without any doubt in your mind that it's wrong, right? So, yep, let's go. Repeat the pattern. Amen. I just made 500. Thank you, Sammy. Shout out to anyone make gains with the lifer right now. Put a thumbs up, put a 333 if you made gains. This is the channel where people actually make gains. Well, Bitcoin hit 100K by the end of December. 826 votes, almost 1,000 votes. We should get as many. If people that many people hit the votes, we should get that many likes. If you're loaded, please hit the like button. So we should definitely have 830 likes, because it's almost harder to vote than hit the like button. But Bitcoin hit 100K by the end of December. 53% say yes, 47% say no. So it's a draw. I say my heart says yes, my mind says no. That's where I stand. You know what I mean? My heart says yes, my mind says no, and the trader in me says anything is possible. I don't have no idea. Right? I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance. Hasta la vida. So look, like light volume, but you got to get back above the 5 second 200 tightness. This has to break out. And I know we're on the 5 second, but right now it's the only time frame challenging a 200 moving average after the dump. A little bit of bullish div there too coming in on my indicator, which is stochastics RSI with divs. How you would find that out, go to RSI. It's stochastics RSI with divergences by neobutane. That's going to hold you down. All right. Look, shoulder, head, right shoulder looks kind of dumpy. I'm not trading the 5 second. I'm just using it for a little bit of insight. I'm zooming in today to see if it can give me, some deeper looks into the chats. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being amazing, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. I do teach this the last Saturday of every month for only $150. We're going to change that too. It's going to be a different type of class next year. But jump on in on your last chance, the last Saturday of the month. Hit the QR code to find out more about how we use the moving averages, time and space, stochastics RSI, VRVP. You're going to learn about trend analysis, support and resistance, and more, and proper risk management, which nobody is teaching. That's going to really put you in the driver's seat of education here on Trading YouTube, man. So if that excites you, jump on in. Look, we got rejected by the 200. No need to get it. Nothing good's going to happen out of that, right? Someone said tweezer bottoms on the 5 minute. A little bit. That'd be a crazy, very high risk buy right now with the stop below the wick. It could happen though. It is above the 200 moving average. High risk, high reward, but let's talk about the data coming in too. That it will affect. And again, when you have lower volume, data coming in affects the market in a longer period of time. Like people might trade hard, but now they're going to wait. So unemployment claims come in tomorrow at 8:30. They are forecast at 225. Previous was 236, so they should be coming in lighter. And what if they're even lighter than the forecast? That's going to be bullish. You're going to see a pump. Okay. CPI year over year, 3% previous, and that's a big number because that's year over year. Okay. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index 2 is thrown in there. Natural gas storage at 10:30. And that monetary statement and the BOJ policy rate too there in Japan, the Bank of Japan policy rate. That's tentative, but that's tomorrow. Okay. It doesn't say exactly when that's happening though. So, and then Friday, nothing crazy for the U.S. existing home sales, which I always like to look at now. And FOMC members speak that nobody cares about. Williams. So there you go. Yeah, it's just how it is. I'm not being. I like the guy. I have nothing against him. It's just nobody cares. Doesn't really move the market. So, yeah, we're looking at CPI and unemployment claims tomorrow at 8:30. Some people might not even trade until then. It's going to be crazy. Look at this nice bounce back up for Bitcoin. Interesting times to be alive. I mean, now if you look at it, it looks like an inverted head and shoulder yet again. Look at this. This is very interesting. See, I just love experimenting with price action, to be honest. I find it fascinating. So look, you go back to the 4-hour time frame, and to me, it looks like you could trade the inverted head and shoulder as if it just right back again. This would be insane, right? Most people would say so. So you'd long right now with a stop below these wicks, and you'd go right back to the target again. Just say, hey, we're just going to go right back out. BTC, right? We're going to do the same thing we just did. 91,137. I don't love it though. The price action is so weird today. But that's so against the grain. You know what I mean? It's so like, and to me, it's, that's what I've practiced. The fact that should just go right back to the upside yet again and just rip. No problem, just right back. It doesn't look good on the 1 hour at all. 15-minute looks sketchy, but you are toying with the fact that you could bounce off the 200. On 2 time frames, you have the 200 moving average, the 5 and the 15, which is very interesting. I'll be honest, that's strong price action. 493. That's why it doesn't have to be big, too. We could try to, 270. Like, we're already getting a bounce there. Look at that. I like the inverted head and shoulder. I like the fact that these moving averages are being held down. I'm going to take the precarious move right back to the upside. Very strange trade, though. And I just missed a $200 move out of Bitcoin. Be careful. Don't do what I'm doing. It's very high risk. Very high risk. Okay? Okay. Shout out to all the beautiful people here on the live. Thank you for being here and jumping on in. So we made a live trade. We'll see where that goes. Chance Bitcoin bounces back up. This is a very tough price action. Just trading today is, you got to have your wits about you. You have to have a plan and use a stop loss. Okay? People that don't use stop losses, they get wrecked. I'm telling you right now. So I'm looking for this to just kind of do exactly what it just did again. Like the last move was just kind of like testing the waters, finding out where liquidity was. I don't know what they were doing. I can't tell you. So, yeah. So let's talk about the carry trade in Japan. Why that's different than before, and why most people think that's horrible. So I'm going to tell you right now, the carry trade, people used to take their money, go to Japan, and they used to get a very cheap interest rate. So you could take your money out the bank, send it over to a bank of Japan, right? Or turn it into Japanese yen, right? Or you basically go to the Japanese banks, borrow money, Japanese yen, turn it into US dollars, and then put the US dollars to work, right? And then you earn more. You'd get back on the rate that you had to pay to hold the Japanese yen. And their rates were so low that it forced a lot of money into the U.S. economy. But they're tightening up that interest rate. They're raising it, and they're cutting out what we call the Japanese carry trade. To me, it's priced in because everyone knows that's been happening now for too long. And it's not like people don't know this. So it's open information, number one. All right, open information usually isn't. It's like buy the rumor, sell the news. It's kind of the news already. So to me, it's a little sketchy. Number two, okay? Second reason why I don't, that money that used to flow is still going to come out, right? People still have the access to funds, right? And they still want to take out loans. There's still this hunger, and there's still a lot of cash on the sidelines right now. More than I think people realize. And that money has to go somewhere. And to me now, instead of going anywhere into any Japanese investments, it just goes back into other things like BTC, possibly gold, and gold's looking good too. And so as gold starts to gather more money, gold will basically take money out. And then that money, I believe the money that flows out of gold flows where? Into Bitcoin. Because once you understand gold, you understand Bitcoin. All right. And so to me, I just think it does the opposite. I actually think it puts more money into Bitcoin over time than it takes away. All right, I think it makes perfect sense to me, and I don't mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are like, no, you don't understand liquidity. That's fine, but we'll see what happens over time, right? How to double your money, earn dollars, fly to Southeast Asia, buy things are cheaper, and head back to the USA. Amen, right? Japanese rate hikes affect the United States directly. Amen. Yeah. Bitcoin's struggling right now already on that. So not doing amazing. But again, that's why you don't trade heavy, right? You can handle $58, $60, $40. And again, very high risk. We still got to, hold 200 moving averages. That looks like it's making the right shoulder like I talked about there, and it's just going to bury us. I feel like even just a gap back down is all I care about there. Let's see. Again, almost worth not trading these days because it's like a Saturday every day. You know what I mean? And a Saturday every day isn't fun. I'll tell you that. These are the days to learn. These are the days to push ourselves. These are the days to deep dive, find out what we're missing, what we're weak on. Say, hey, review your trades. Why did I lose a lot? What days was I trading? Did I go too hard when I didn't need to? Did I emotionally revenge trade and why? Why were my positions so big on Saturday morning? And just, you know what I mean? You just got to review what you did over the year and correct those things. Like me right now, I shouldn't even trade this. This is just, I know it's garbage trading. But you never know. There's that chance that it's that legendary bounce, I guess, Just wick. Just wick. No. That looks like the shoulder, head right shoulder now, exactly like I kind of looked at it. So bear. What a crazy move, right? You'd pump to 90,000, and that was a perfect short. Now they're going to eat the late longs. Oh my gosh. Stay away. Look at that. No. The wickage. Death by wickage. Come on, baby. You know you want me. You know you want me. Come get me. You so afraid? What are you so afraid of? Taunting the red candle? You won't. You won't do it. You won't hit my stop, baby. You won't, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. What are you so afraid of? You afraid of me? Can't handle the fire? Can't handle the kitchen? You just, look, you almost got me, huh? But you couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle the pressure. Look at this. You wish you did. You wish you could. Wish you woulda, wada, wada, woo. That's so crazy. That thing turned green. That's insane. Let's just sit here and not look at anything else. Just watch this. Like, this is nuts. 86.14. I was $3. That's no way. No way. Come on, baby. Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. That's crazy. I have no right to be in that trade. They're going to get me. Come on. This is absurd. What a battle, though, right? Come on, man. Come on. We'll see what happens. Who knows? This is crazy right now. We've got this little level here of liquidity that should give us a little bit of, some breathing room. What a battle here, huh? Like, this is why trading is not for everybody. Like, this up and down price action is insane. Like, it gets my heart going right now. And it's not even that much money, but it's just like it's part of the journey. It's just what I do. Right? Wickage, baby, wickage. The old wickage. The age of the wicks. Oh no. Oh no. See, the blue line's kind of like the line in the sand. Like, it shouldn't. Now we should get at least some support there. Should start to build some support. I can't watch it. I can't do it anymore. This is better than sitting in school. I know, right? Bitcoin will probably play around 87,954. I mean, that would be great if it plays around there. I'll take it all day long. Every time it gets back to the nines, it feels good. We talked about that yesterday. Look, it's back to 86,000. I just can't believe that. It was just at 90,000. It just felt so ooey gooey. It was chocolate chip cookie. Remember we talked about yesterday is the hot chocolate chip cookie. When we're above 90K, Bitcoin is a hot chocolate chip cookie right out the oven. But when it's back to 8, anywhere in the 8s, it's that old cookie on the counter you're just not sure about. You're just, you want to have it, but you think you'd like to kind of heat it up. Because if you're going to eat the cookie, it should be nice and warm. And again, why is Sam talking about cookies so much lately? What is going on? Is he the cookie? No, it's funny. We talked about it yesterday. I just talk about what's so much better than better, right? Better is a chocolate chip cookie, but better than that is a hot, nice and warm baked chocolate chip cookie, right? Of course. Let's be honest. Everyone has to be honest with themselves. So what's better? Bitcoin. What's even better? Bitcoin at 90K. You know what I mean? Not 80,000. Not in the 80s. Away from the 80s. Look, they're going to get me now. Oh my gosh. Come on. They got me. It's a nasty day out here. Lost the 200 moving average on the 5. Attempting to lose it here on the... And again, they might just bring this thing right back up. Careful trading, everyone. Careful trading. Funding rate is estimated... Oh, yeah. Nasty. So let's take a look at the bigger time frame here, but this looks like it's going to bear flag down now. Back to 81, kind of how we all started. It's just so weird, right? Started bullish, looked like an inverted head and shoulder, hit the 200 moving average on the 4 hour, hit the 200 moving average on the 1, hit the point of control, got rejected. And now that they just slumped this thing down and dump it down to 81.9. It's like anyone can do anything they want. You can see the light order book, right? You can see how we're getting toyed with at the end of the year. Look, this still says that we go up to $100,000. Look, now there's more liquidity up there than there ever was. So interesting. All the way back up to 90K. Are they inducing shorts? I couldn't tell you. I take it one step, one day at a time, and I love admitting I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance. I just trade Bitcoin, right? One step at a time. I'm still up today, but like $100. I made 350. I lost like what, 250 there. So I'm up like $80 or something after fees. So it was a lackluster day for me. It was fun though. I had some fun, but right, had some fun up and down, but didn't, wasn't an amazing day. So could have been better. Bullish engulfing, could have shorted that rejection there and still been in the short, right? I'm just not, my forte isn't shorting. My forte is my model. I just love it. So and the model played out earlier today too. So it's kind of like bang, bang, right? Wish I just stayed in the trade a little longer. Would have made $2,000, but it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. I don't expect to win the last 2 weeks of the year every day. I expect to just get out without losing tons of money. I said that to the group too. I said, you know what? Like, don't try to be a hero the end of the year, in my humble opinion. Glad I closed all my positions ahead of Friday. Yeah, crypto recession started 2024. Now it's going to 50. Oh my God, these people are funny, man. Hey, anything could happen. Maybe we go to 15K. That's what he thinks. Look, this is a backwards Adam and Eve. You see it? I just looked at it like an Adam and Eve. And technically it would break down like this back to the downside too. So that looks bearish. Look for that like right shoulder possibly on the 1 hour. Maybe it takes like 4 or 5 hours. Might even take, like, it might do something like this. So either bounces back up and does some wacky business. We find some type of fly. Who knows? I got to give it time. And look, it was tweezer bottoming. It was looking okay. But as I told you, looked more like a bearish retest than anything else. And so far, I believe that's what's happening. And so now you got to look for, like, the bear flag on the smaller time frame. Which is still here. Like, look, you broke out. You're still inside the bear flag. Adam and Eve. Yeah, so now, like, smart thing is to wait. You could wait for the 21 to catch up to the 200. So price is going to dump. And then it's going to probably make a flag. And at that point, the 21 will come. And that's going to be a great short. So low risk short is to wait for the 21. High risk short is to get in right now with stops like right here. Chance you get to ride that puppy down. Not my favorite thing to do, but it's collapsing. It's losing the 200 moving average on the 15 and the 5. And it's already below it on the other time frames. The daily looks like a bearish retest. So you got to just be honest with yourself here. Okay. So beautiful move up, but it was unsustainable. And now they're kind of collapsing it back to the downside. Look at my beautiful stop. I would have lost, that's why you don't lose $2-3 grand. You lose $100, $200 here and there when you're wrong. That's why a stop loss is beautiful. Knowing how to lose is so important. And knowing when to just chill. Like, don't overtrade. Like right now I could overtrade, run into a short. I need it now. I need it now. Why? When you feel yourself forcing a trade, you know what that is? It's fear. Whenever you're doing something very fast, you have to say, why am I doing this? And you have to answer out to be like, it's because of fear. Whenever you're doing something that's controlled, well prepared, and thought out, it's because it's controlled, well prepared, and thought out. Think about it. So if you're not doing a trade that you haven't kind of already pre-prepared, isn't something that you've already really looked at, then in my humble opinion, you're probably chasing. Okay? You're probably chasing. Yeah, 1 minute lost to 200 moving average. That's a short, in my humble opinion. And then it's either going to make an inverted head and shoulder here or the descending triangle, right? We've seen this, or it makes like one of these. And it just rolls over on you. So you can watch the 1 minute for a possible reversal or a look, it looks like it's going to dump. Look at that. Huh. We'll see. See what pattern it makes. But see, this is what you start doing, you start kind of setting traps. If it just comes up here and just kind of stumbles over, but if it pops up nicely, makes the right shoulder, then you might have a reversal on your hands. You do it, look, bounce. You got some support there at 86,000. And we went over that earlier too. 84,900. Remember what we said at the very beginning of the stream, that you have to assume we're going down when you're below the daily 200 moving average for as long as we've been. You just have to assume we're going down. It's better off because you're, okay? Exactly. This is driving me insane. It's okay. I would never stress anything, and everyone's like freaking out about Bank of Japan. Who cares? It doesn't matter to me. I never listen to everybody else, and I never have, I never will. I already knew that Bitcoin has a chance of going down to 38,000. We did that on the Fibonacci. We don't need the Bank of Japan to tell us that. People that run to news to tell you what's going to happen are the same people that are going to run to news to short and long the market at the worst time. Just trust the charts. The charts are there for you to tell you what's going to happen. Show me the charts and I'll show you the news. It's so crazy to me because I've seen it so many times in my life. And once you've been in it as long as me, you'll be like, wow, man, I wish I had saw that way. All right. Someone says English only, please, man. You're funny. ¿Por qué solo inglés? Si no me entiendes, va a la escuela. You could put the closed captions on in Spanish, I'm pretty sure, But yo hablo español. Yo estudio España, para 3 años, but 20 años atrás, no, even más, 25 años atrás, Yeah, I was 13, 14, 15, is that right? 15? Yeah. Or 15, yeah. 16, 17. All right. It's learning by experience. I think today was my day. You got to get your butt kicked to get your butt whipped, to get your butt intact, to get equipped. Like, it's not going to happen till you get in action, right? You're not going to know how to get out of the mud until you get stuck in it. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the mud so many times in my life. Like, I know exactly where you are as a beginner of a trader. I can understand the mindset. I know how hard it is to lose when you're a beginner trader. It hurts so bad because you're beginning something and you have this optimism that's going to go well. And when it doesn't, it hurts. But you have to kind of separate your first year and say, hey, man, I'm just a beginner and I'm learning. And nothing's going to go perfect for me. I have to learn. Okay? CPI tomorrow, dump before the 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning pump. Possibly. Anything is possible. Yeah. So right now you're watching the 1 minute for a possible inverted head and shoulder or just a continuation further to the downside. Almost looks like we might even be able to kind of say that you're already in the descending triangle now. I'm seeing. Like you're about to roll over right now. You see that? Now I'm seeing it, I believe, for what it really is there. That thing just rolls right over back to 85,000. Looking for a dump here for Bitcoin. Not looking amazing. Unless you get a fast move up and get this inverted head and shoulder to change the game. Yikes. Hitting a bullish order block here might hang for a minute. Amazing, you still remember your Spanish. Yeah, a little bit. Remorse, yo no remorse. Mucho hablando español en Costa Rica. En Barcelona. Mucho personas. ¿Dónde está la grocería? English only in the chat, guys. Why? Why can't we have other languages, Lakochi? Who made you the language police? You're free to hit the like button in any language, though. You're funny. I need a dump around tat. You're funny. Looks like it's going to roll ourselves right over here to $85,000 BTC. Roll over, baby. Roll over. Show us the rollover. Roll over. What the heck is this? It's a pop over. Wow, so they pumped and dumped it. That's what they did today. Start the stream off feeling good, right? As we started the update today, or the countdown, massive pump for Bitcoin. Everyone was bugging out. It looked great. And then they start playing around with price action. Now we have a resistance at 86.7 to a local one. Needs to be broken. So this looks like a descending triangle. It's going to roll over to $85,000. Servando Sammy going Captain Puerto Rico on us. Hey. 3 traders went against me over the last week. Nothing big. However, sidelines now for more fun. 3 trades went again. It happens, man. It happens, yeah. It happens. It's been tough to trade. Honestly, it's good to just take. I shouldn't even say it, but the last 2 weeks are tough, man. But people will never listen to me. It doesn't matter what I say. Some will, actually. I shouldn't say that. Some will listen. Like, that looks like it's rolling over. I mean, they're going to short it. It's a descending triangle. See? You flip it upside down. It's a descender. Hard to see it, but to me, it just looks like they're going to dump that thing. It's a 4-to-1 risk-reward ratio there with the entry at 86,368. Already up $100. So crazy how fast these things move, right? And usually the head or the shoulder doesn't get that far away. So, like, you know, usually you would have been curving by here. So it would be an abnormal inverted at this point, too, just based on ratio. It doesn't, I've seen deep heads. It happens. Pause. Doesn't sound right. But, you know. But you never, you know, just got to go with the flow here. That looks like you're dumping over. You know, it looked like I could see it. And it's hard to execute in time, but I'm going to show you, you got to, you know, if you want to trade small time frame, you got to be able to move. You got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to change. And I have to tell you, today is a good, today could do this. On a regular day, but today, who knows what they're going to do today? You know what I mean? We could see something like that. Like, dump, boom, ba-doom, ba-dum. I mean, look what they just did here. Look what they did over here. You know, boom, bam, ba-ding, bang. It's been crazy. So, light order book, and I keep repeating it, just so you understand what's happening here, and you understand why. Like, this isn't normal trading. Like, you're watching the live stream. This is a different type of time. Okay? A little bit of bull div there. A little bit of, which is swing up on the RSI while price swings down, but is it sustainable? Unlikely. Looks to me that was a daily bearish retest of that bigger trend line that we found. Okay. Yep, no more ribeyes, only sirloin this week, he says. You're funny, man. She's dumping sirloin. You're funny, man. No ribeyes this week, only strip steak. No prime, only choice. That's it, everybody. Pack it up. So, the battle continues, but I see more downside for Bitcoin. I hate to be the bearer of bearish news. Anything kind of fighting the mood? Midnight had a little bit of a pump last night. Nothing crazy. In the last hour, you don't see anything going crazy. And again, when you see stables at the top of the list, it just says that things are kind of struggling. All right? And you look at the last 24 hours, Midnight is up 10%. Only thing kind of Morpho, Merlin Chain, Canton, but like deep diving into crazy altcoins, I think is a bit insane. Let's take a look at what happened to Power. Power had some bullishness to it. But it was also very high risk with lower volume. So, Power Protocol. Did it actually go up? It actually did go up, which is kind of crazy, right? Because, but it looked bullish. It had the signs. So interesting. It was touching the 21, and you know, it did pump to the upside. Power Protocol. Amazing. Up 43% too from when we looked at it yesterday. So the only thing that I looked at yesterday, and it looks like it could actually continue to head to the target. So I don't know what's going on with this thing, but clearly, look, it's an Adam and Eve double bottom. You see that? I mean, that's an Adam and Eve right there, which tells you you could hit this measured move, which it kind of did. Now it has to touch the 21. I'd look for the 2 hour, the 1 hour to touch that 21-day moving average and flag out the 15-minute. Wow, look at this. The 15 minutes in a bit of a flag here. I look for that puppy to flag on out and continue. This thing looks hot. I don't know. Basically, you know, looks interesting. It's DeFi. It's on Mexe. And honestly, Bitcoin might come back with a vengeance right now and just bounce like you wouldn't believe. Just be careful. If it gets back above the 15-minute, today's a volatile day. This coin's hot. We looked at this. I think I even looked at it in the group. Power Protocol. Very interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Wow. Power. Well, what? So, yeah, I'd like to see if it can continue. I grabbed a little bit of Power right now. Why not? So I'm in power. Just want to let you know to be open there. I'm in a little bit of power, but it's tiny. Just be careful. Like $400 or $500. See if I can, maybe double it up or something, but nothing crazy. Be careful. Don't do anything you see anywhere, please, dear. Dear Agnes. Anyway, can we get this move back to the upside? So the 1 minute does not collapse just yet. But to me, it's just like, come on. Could just extend this. Is it? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. Looks like more downside there for BTC, in my humble opinion. So nothing has changed with my present outlook here in the short term. Maybe, in the next 6-7 hours. So Nifty 50, check the monthly, weekly, daily, hourly. We'll take note, please. Advise. It's an index. So I can take notes in screenshots. Interesting. Summit Hardwani. Amazing. NSE, 50 NSE. So you're telling me that's like the 50 highest stocks in the New York Stock Exchange? That's what it's called. That's why it's called the 50 Nifty. I should have known about it. I've never heard about it, so I've never used it. Numora. See, I'm not even, you told me it was easy to find, then we didn't get it again the last time, right? Nifty. Oh, you have to spell Nifty. Nifty 50 index. All right. And I believe I should have just asked. I'll just ask Grok what it will tell me. I'm guessing it's the highest 50 stocks in the New York Stock Exchange, I mean, it's obviously going to continue to pump, right? They're going to print this money to zero, in my humble opinion. And this thing's in a beautiful, and this kind of follows exactly what I told you with the, with the S&P and the NASDAQ. You need to just watch my macro analysis on the S&P and the NASDAQ. Because if the Nifty 50 is going up, so is the S&P and the NASDAQ. Think about it. S&P is the, S&P 5, right? So this is just a tenth of the index, right? And those actually take the most of the money anyway. So the Nifty 50 really is the index, right? Because the top 8 companies are like 70% of the volume or something crazy like that. Like NVIDIA, Google, like you have Alphabet, Google, you know what I mean? You have Tesla, NVIDIA, Google, Amazon. Right? I mean, the next thing you know, you've already have so it's not even the Nifty 50 anymore. It's like the Nifty 7. And everything else just kind of swarms around it. Michael Saylor explained all this, and that's why. All right, I'm going to break something down in a little while what people don't understand about what Michael Saylor's doing and why. All right. But so this is bullish to me. It's touching the 21 above the 200. It's got tight moving averages with low stochastics. This thing's about to boom. If someone really wants to wait, they wait for the breakout and the retest. Or some type of consolidation here above this key level and then bang, right? Or just the aggressive entry is now. I'm bullish on Captain Puerto Rico. Nifty 50 is Indian Stock Exchange. Well, the thing looks like they're going to print money to zero. It looks bullish to me. Yeah. The Indian Stock Exchange. Interesting. All right. Someone says got slapped right back to 86,000. So crazy, right? Little mini inverted head and shoulder there, but still struggling. To me, you just got to assume that puppy's going to dump on you. If it doesn't, be pleasantly surprised. I know levels that are the safe places to long, and I know when to, so like now you got to get back above like 87.5, right? Think about it. They've turned that into resistance now. So crazy how you can be, up and down so fast. And look, the 200 moving average, losing it on the 1 minute was devastation and dump. So crazy. They add them and even in the morning, pump it up, dump it down. I'm so used to the volatility now, it's like this all the time. It's so crazy, right? But hey, this is a beautiful time to be alive. There's awesome opportunity. Like there was money to be made this morning. I used to complain when the market didn't move at all. At least it's moving somewhat now. There's actually opportunity out here every single day. Follow me at CryptoLifer33. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. On our way to 50,000 followers here on X. And we're out here every day talking about what we love, showing you the idea, the Fear and Greed Index. Look at this. Kazakhstan announced to sell its gold reserves to buy up to $300 million worth of Bitcoin in crypto. I mean, that's not a small task. That's a lot. Look at this. This looks like it's going to dump, folks. I could be wrong, but that just doesn't look good to me. I wouldn't long that, right? Let's talk about... No. Yeah. And bang, bang, bang. And the gold and the Tesla trade, they're going to take their time, but they're still up beautifully. You could take profits on them already if you wanted. My Tesla trade at 409, all the way up at 477. Entry at 409. Gold at 4195. Current price at 326. And we never lost. No stop losses got hit. These trades are still in the money. And it's up to you what you want to do. But the entries are stone cold here on any asset. And I'm just using 200 moving averages, bigger time frames, stop, you know, possible and simple support or resistance. Nothing crazy. Just consistent. You know, I've learned about who makes the most money in every industry, who is the most successful. Is it the smartest and the most skilled people, or is it the most consistent people? You guys tell me, smartest or the most consistent? Who makes the most money? The people that are connected, their mom and dad already know who's there, like they basically, their dad runs the company, or the guy that comes from nothing, just works every single day? Who's more successful in general? You know what I mean? Is it the connected person, the super intelligent, the person with the most talent? Or is it the person that's not that talented, not connected at all, knows nobody, but just shows up every single day? Right? Who's the most successful person? And you can answer that question, right? Consistency is key. Yeah. 20 will be the year of legacy coins, in my opinion. Real decentralization will be wanted in this market. Well, once they establish this, you know, ability to hold stable coins and stuff, they can now make yield, right? Double yield, liquid stake. It opens it up for everything. So for me, I think the whole reason they're doing that is so DeFi can really open up to institutions, and they don't have to kind of go through all that red tape. Right there, look. I mean, that looks like this. That looks like it could be making a right shoulder. It's tough to tell. It's tough to tell right now. It is extended. You know, you're pretty far, but like the 21 and the 200. But I mean, I see more pain. Yeah. What do you think RKLB is forming a W pattern, potential upside? RKLB, someone asked about. RKLB. Rocket Lab Corporation on the NASDAQ. Let's take a look. So last time I looked at it, I said, you know, watch to see if it can flag out, specifically on that daily, or I don't know exactly. Maybe did we look at it on the 4 hour? Yeah, you see how it's this? I would do something like this. You know, I would just see if it does that. If it loses the 200, there's something wrong. But if it consolidates above the 200, you know everything is going the way it should. So you just got to basically put it in what it... You got basically watch all the most bullish signs you've ever seen. So you backtest all the coins that have ever pumped in your life, and you watch them on the 4 hour. And then you say, okay, this is what I've seen 90% of the time on these coins. Then you project that, and then you wait for that projection to become real. And if it becomes real, you take the trade. If not, then you don't take the trade. See, it's like... I love my system because it's based off years of data. I'm not doing anything that I haven't seen before, or I don't have at least a probability on. So for me, again, like my mentor taught me, aggressive entry is now with a stop below here. It pumps, it starts to consolidate. Yeah, you don't get the price at 54. You get in at 60. You miss a big chunk. So what I've learned is either you get the lower price for higher risk, or you get the higher price for lower risk. And it depends on what you want to do. I've gotten in here, gotten stopped out. I've waited, gotten in here, gotten stopped out. I've gotten in here and won the trade. I've gotten in here and won the trade. This has paid me more than any other time, though. And even getting in the retest is like, but then I have to be active. I got to really see it. Here I can throw it in and walk away with a stop here. I can go golfing. I don't have to stare at it. The retest, I have to be active. You know, retest, you kind of have to be at the computer for the retest. That's why the thing is to know a retest and to be at the computer so much, one day you're at the computer when you see a retest. So that's what people don't realize. Like traders we're not like amazing. We don't hit it every time, but we trade so much. Like I'm at my desk so much that I'm going to see it. Like there's days where I just see it. And I have a stand-up desk, and I tell everyone about this. When I basically say I leave my desk after the live and I walk by and I just say I want to just check the charts. I don't have to walk in. I don't have to pull the seat out. I don't have to sit down. It's not a big thing for me. I just waltz in and I lean here. Like I walk by, I lean in and I look at the chart. Nah, nothing right now. I walk out. 20 minutes later, I come in. I just keep all the charts up and I glance at them as I go. You see what I'm saying? And then when I see what I like, I take a trade. If I don't see what I don't like, I don't take the trade. So my whole life is just projecting. Like if I was going to trade RKLB, I'd do this. I'd put an alert on it here, and I'd put an alert on it here. I'd put dang near 3 alerts on it. Because I don't want to have to think about it too much. Heck, I put 4 alerts on it if I have to. Right click, hit alert. Right click, hit an alert. Why so many alerts? Because I just, I won't have to think about it. It will just keep hitting them. Every couple of days, it'll tell me. So if in 4 alerts, 3 alerts, we're somewhere down in here, then you know what? The market slump, something didn't happen, risk on assets, you know what I mean? Maybe there's war, who knows? You're telling, when you know what's going to happen for sure, you're basically attempting to be a psychic. When you trade probabilities, you're a trader. Okay? Now look, it kind of has it has a little bit of a signature there. The Sammy Cup and Handy, right? So there's, interesting. I'd watch this closely. And then what I would do is I'd pull a fib from this impulse that I just saw. I'd go to the daily and I'd look at a impulse here. See that red candle, how we took off, like we dipped and took off from that wick? I like that wick there. Because to me, that is the impulse move, right? And you can see we wicked back to the 618 fib. And if you pulled the whole move, you can see maybe we could come down there to the 21. So you could try to, if you want to be super low risk, you basically try to catch a limit order at 48, 49, but you may never catch it. That's another thing what people do. They look at the most, some traders just only put limit orders at the extended areas. If they get them, they get them. If they don't, they don't. I'm a little more risky than that. And some people don't even understand the risk there that I'm talking about. They don't even understand the probabilities that I'm breaking down. Your brain gets better at understanding how every little thing changes, Yeah. Shout out to everybody here. Nobody makes calls here on the channel, okay? You didn't make a call. I just want to make that clear. We trade probabilities. No one, I just can't, when people come to, can you look at my call? Can you look at my call? No, you gave us a ticker to look at. God bless you. You know what I mean? But let's take a look. Thank you so much for this, for the super chat. Let's take a look. You did, no, you gave us a beautiful call. So look, it popped from the bottom of the channel to the top. It actually hit the target exactly right. It did exactly what it was supposed to for 22% gains. It actually went higher than 20% and went to the top of the channel as suggested. You can see that, right? Isn't that crazy? But shout out to give us ICNT. You are spot on. I just want to mess with you, man. I'm sorry. I tried to keep a straight face. It was hard. So look, is that going to keep going? I don't know. It's high risk, but it made a move. Unbelievable. So you can see this channel is still pulling off wins when almost nobody is. That's insane. Look at that. Didn't even hit the stop loss. So crazy. In a very high risk market, you can see it bounced off the bottom and went all the way back to the top. Unbelievable. At 30 cents. Off the 200 moving average on the 1 hour. Kind of an Adam and Eve there too as well. Hey, Sam, can you look at GME? GameStop is crazy undervalued like 2020 Michael Berry is bullish. Yeah. And thank you so much for the super chats. Let's take a look at the fan funding for a split second and say thank you. We've got Chris Ghost. How does staked USDT affect USDTD? Can Tether dominance rise due to staking even though it's taking less market share? No, not really. No. I mean, yes, in a way it can make stable more attractive. And people definitely want to get into yield. But the thing is, people are getting into stablecoin and then they're getting into yield. You see what I mean? So they're stabling up, then they're going in to get yield off the stable. So, I mean, yes, it makes it more attractive, doesn't it? I mean, there's another incentive to stable up. There has to be somewhat, there's a mathematical probability that would give it a bit more volume, you'd think, or more people to buy it. But it happens nonetheless when people are scarce. They get into stables, Thank you so much. We looked at that Sumit Hardwani. We looked at the 50 Nifty. And we update ICNT. Sal Flowers giving us ICNT all the way from Canada. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Had a bot on power from 22. Made $400. Vetigoat. Amazing. It's pretty cool that you did that. God bless you with the knowledge you share. Made gains long in the model and shorting when we got away from the 21. Shout out to my man, TV Wolves. With the 777s in Canadian. Thank you. Hey, Lifer, when do you use back then to trade gold? Oh, yeah, we got it. And that's what I got to talk about. AI Cyclone, new coin, CYC. Let's take a look. This one looks like it could be bouncing. I don't know, man. Tough. It'd likely come back all the way back down to the bottom of the pattern, but we don't know for sure. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. We're taking a little bit of a break from BTC. 86.7. 86.7. So look, it's bouncing. Inverted head and shoulder back to the upside. Big TT. And this is what I like, the volatility. So look, the 5-second broke above the 200 moving average. Look. See, now that is the, look, there's the flag right there. Again, and that's why I would only trade the 1 minute break above the 200. That's going to take some time. So look, we didn't get the rollover. And again, I didn't short or long the market. I got sniped out of the long, and then I just wait for the model. Price action looks nasty. If I had to assume, I assume it's going lower, but I don't know. I have to be honest with you today. For the rest of the week, the rest of the year, it's going to be a up and down crawl, like back and forth. Price action is going to crawl. It's not going to have a lot of volume. So it's going to be a tougher, when price action, it's like really hard to call things that don't have a lot of volume because they barely move. Right? Look at that coming right back down too, though. I don't know, man. Technically didn't hit the stop, but I mean, ugh. I do extend that again. Get rid of this because I don't want to push, shorting or longing or anything. I'm trying to figure it out. I am attempting to see what price action wants to do. Sometimes I can't tell. That's okay. Admitting when you can't figure it out is the best part of trading because that means you don't have an edge. And there's days I look at the charts, I know exactly. I'm like, yo, that's so hot. And I can see what's going to happen and we nail it. There's days when it's the other opposite. Look, I can almost see kind of like a shoulder, a head, an R. It looks dumpy to me. There's your high, there's your lower low, there's your lower high, lower low, right? I'm still calling for more downside here for Bitcoin. I'd be surprised if we don't get it. I'm stuck on this. I'm stuck on being a perma bear over here. He's the most bearish guy in the game. Why? I don't know. He just likes to be bearish now. I'm just a realist. I show you what I see in price action. It is what it is. I wish it wasn't, but it is. All right. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. If you want to trade where we trade, we have awesome deals. Check it out in the live chat. If you go up here to our pinned comment at Weeks, at BTCC, and at MEXC, jump on in today. I was trading live on Weeks today, as you can see, and I have my gold and Tesla trades open on BTCC. We can trade any asset in the world. Okay. And yeah, I like gold at fourth. Look, the 333s on gold right now. That entry looks nice with a stop loss below 41.80. Ride that puppy back up to $5,000. So, and again, you don't have to be a big shot to make gains. Like people like 3-4 months make 20 grand. Imagine small traders can make 80 grand a year, not having to be too crazy and risky. Everyone thinks you have to be a big time risky trader, but you just have to have a process. So for me, what would I do? Like, I'm looking to see if, look, the 5-second stays above the 200, then it goes for the 30-second. Looks like we may make this gap right back up there. Just be careful, man. And girls, guys and girls, don't overtrade in chop. You can clearly see this is insanity. Like if they rip this all the way back up and you're like, oh, I didn't hit the, like, don't beat yourself up. All right. Someone says, can you look at GME? Let's take a look. This looks like it's bouncing with BTC a little bit. GameStop Corporation. Funny, look, it had the model. The 21 was inside of a flag, about to break above the 200, and it got a nice pump as it got across there to the upside too as well. Interesting. Let's look at the bigger picture for GameStop. It's always fun to deep dive something I haven't seen in a while. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So I'll tell you what, it's got like the cup and the handle. It's got really big consolidation. I'll tell you what, it is a symmetrical triangle. It could technically go either way, but because it's kind of in a higher low situation, it looks like a short squeeze is coming. So, not saying they won't, I see kind of volatility. A little dip, rip, retest, boom. But I don't know exactly how it's going to get there. I'm not trying to claim to be a psychic, but the probability is suggesting we go higher. Let's take a look at the weekly, though. Yeah, the weekly has legs. Discount is when you're near the weekly 200 moving average. I mean, that's, that's notoriously been a great place to buy. And then I'd look at that daily as it gets tighter and tighter. A move is coming. By the end of February, a move is coming. You know what I mean? Look at that. It can only get tight for so long. And it could dip, make a double bottom. It could pump. To me, my system tells me that it's more likely to pump. But if you got the breakout and the retest, that's what you want to look for. See, trading isn't about me telling you, oh, I know for a fact it's going up. It's about saying, okay, the which ways it goes, and then we want to trade this and that. You see what I mean? It's like basically giving yourself both probabilities and saying what you would do both times. And then if one pans out, you go that way. If one doesn't pan out, you don't go that way. It's quantum. It's quantum theory, right? Like you set up both ideas and you only take the idea that makes sense to you. If it doesn't go, you don't take it. Does that make sense? We're doing this every time, all the time, on everything we do. Therefore, there's a lot of thought process into every single trade we make. Okay? Again, don't take anything I say as financial advice. I have no idea. This could go to zero in 2 seconds. I don't know. I have no clue. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say should be taken for advice. This is just simply trading education every single day here on the channel. This is my reality show of my life. I share 2 hours of my life every day. The tools that I use to trade, how I trade, the exchanges that I actually touch and use. Okay? And what I actually, if I have an exchange and I don't like it, I don't use it. Okay, I only talk about exchanges and use exchanges that I like, that work with me. Okay. Triangles are absolute most and often result in head fakes. Bitcoin owner. I love when people say that because that means he has no idea how to trade because you don't trade triangles. You trade triangles with moving averages. You have to understand where the moving averages are when you trade the pattern. You have to trade the pattern that's above, support or resistance. You're correct if you just trade patterns randomly. You have to understand where liquidity is coming from and when you're trading the pattern. When you trade a pattern with liquidity, it's completely different than when you trade a pattern with no volume. A pattern on Tuesday morning will pump your face off. And I just showed you how many patterns play out over and over again. I can teach you how patterns play out. Look, this was an inverted head and shoulder right here in your face. You could say it didn't play out. It's right there. You know what I mean? Now you made another little one right there too. This suggests you will pump through the gap. When you're back up here, you're like, well, patterns don't play out. Okay, I mean, it's up to you. You can believe the patterns don't play out, or you can believe they do. It's up to you. It doesn't matter to the person that uses them. To the person that uses them, we already know what works for us because we know what works for us. Yeah. Like you could pick any moving average you want and use it all the time. You could use the 19 and the 40. Every time price action, the 19 crosses the 40, I go long. I mean, you'd be surprised how often that could work for you. Look, we might be making a monster inverted now. That gets us back to the upside here. Love pattern trading lifer. Thank you, brother. Yeah. I didn't say they don't play out. I like patterns. I don't like triangles. Interesting. I see what you're saying. Okay. I got you. Yeah, I didn't realize. I never know what people are saying. Sorry for picking apart what you said there. I greatly apologize. I'll be better about being better. Yeah. No, I can. I know I can. I think I can. I think, therefore I am Descartes, right? Rising wedge back to the upside. Can we reverse this puppy? Rip through the gap? That's why I would only long if the 1 minute ends up back above the 200 somewhere up in here. And even then, I mean, I'm kind of just stuck in range bound chop. It's funny, now I can see the head and shoulder pattern there too. Look. It was so obvious. So crazy. The bounce back to the upside as they chew the late shorts. It did look bearish to me. Sammy, can you show your Tesla trade? Why? Why? Is it not moving? It's moving. It's up 200%. In at 409. We're at 476. Gold in at 4195. We're at 433. Look, turn 265 into 551. Imagine if you turn $265 into $550. You don't have to be a big shot, little by little, and everything kind of comes together one step at a time. Okay? Next few days, then rip. The pattern shows will drop to the 80s. The winner of the ugliest chart award, APT on the 3-day. You're funny, man. I really think low 80s, though. Shout out to Peter Eckel. Hey, man, whatever you think. Now, who knows what's going to happen? I'm still more bearish than bullish. Like, the bulls got to step up and show me something different. I don't buy it. She's selling it. She's celibate. I'm not buying it. It's so funny. But, you know. 86.9. Thank you, Sam. I'm thinking of entering the trade. Which trade? The long or the short? Yikes. Oh, the short to 80K? Dang. Honestly, two things are going to happen. You're going to pump up. Eventually, the 1 minute's going to have to catch up to the 21 and flag out. If it does that, it'll pump. Otherwise, it will get resistance here, make some type of right shoulders, and it'll dump. So you'd long this flag, you'd short this move here, and you'd kind of wait for either one to play out. I wouldn't touch it, though. Yeah. If I see something, I show the trading group. Otherwise, as I said the group, and I have no problem saying it, we get through the next 2 weeks. That's it. Then we see what happens. Remember last year, the first week of January, it was crazy. So, and last year was insane. We got huge pumps. Things were different. Bitcoin hit 100K in December. It was an amazing time to be alive. I'm not saying this isn't. I'm actually excited because we're at pretty good places, right? Last thing I want to show you is how I started to trade, right? JNUG and JDST. Like, I really did answer everything that we said we would. So JNUG is like a nugget of gold, right? And a nugget, think about what a nugget is. A nugget is that's awesome, right? Having a nugget. So JNUG goes up. Now, it used to be a 3 times shares, but somewhere, I think I'd have to say 8 or 9 years ago, they changed it from 3x to 2x. I don't know why, but they just did, I guess. They just decided that gold wasn't that fun anymore. Maybe they could have only so many assets at leverage, and they had to take a little bit away from this one and give it to another one. I don't know what they did. And so this just, if gold goes up 20%, or 30%, this will go up 60%. You'll just get double the exposure to gold. It's an ETF that holds gold, turn into a derivative, right? And you can trade it, right? It's an ETF. So they have JNUG, and then they have JDST. JDST is when you think gold's going to dump, you buy JDST, right? You can see, the cool thing about this is to long or short a market, you had to have a certain amount of money, yada, yada, yada. But you can basically, when gold dumps, this trade pumps. So there would be days back in the day where I was trading this, and I could see, and now you can see it's the opposite. So it's been dumping, it's been in a downtrend. But there have been times where there's been moves up. So you could trade these both bullishly. Obviously, to trade this now would be probably the worst idea ever. It's likely going lower. But the whole point is when gold does get redistributed, this will pump. All right? So JDST pumps when gold dumps. JNUG pumps when gold pumps. So you kind of always have things to trade every day. Because like if it pumped one day, so like that day, the last 2 days there, if we look at JDST, it should have had a pump in the last 2 days, right? Or 4 days ago, but it should have had 2 days of green. And it did. See that? So you could have traded 264 up to $3. I mean, that's a pretty good pip, So, you go back and forth. So I did this for years. This is how I learned how to trade. $5,000 in an account and just trading gold back and forth every day. And I looked at the price of gold every morning and every night and 5 times a day in the interim throughout the day. And then now I do the same thing with Bitcoin. So like trading gold taught me how to trade Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? It taught me, and again, that's how I began my trading career, was I bought gold and silver to get out of the dollar because I knew they were going to print it to zero because I watched documentaries about inflation. I knew by 2010 inflation was coming strong and to get out of the dollar. I could see, and I said how millionaires and billionaires, they basically put their money in anything but the dollar, See how this looks bearish to me? Like it's coming back down there to 84 and 8, 85K. And again, I could be wrong. I'm never trying to say I'm 100%. If I was 100%, I'd be wrong, right? But I'm just giving you guys what I see, okay? One step at a time. And so there you go. And this could go all the way down to like $84,000, $85,000. So I see more bearishness for Bitcoin, I'm sorry to say. I hope it double bottoms and does something different. I am a perma-bull in heart, but I'm an open-minded guy as a trader, and anything is possible. So it's important that we look at all possibilities and get ready for each one. If I see something different, I'm going to update the trading group. They're pulling me for a loop today too. Maybe there's an inverted in there. You never know. They've already done a bunch of craziness today. Look at this. The cool thing is we'll see the model. We'll still be able to take advantage. Not every piece of the move, but some piece, some way, somehow we can find it. So stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated throughout the day, and we'll keep fighting every single day. Remember, tomorrow too, I wouldn't be surprised by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock tonight, we start getting very, very tight. All right. Everyone, please hit the like button. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find it when we post our next video. Thank you so much for coming through every single day and hanging out with the lifer. I appreciate it more than you would ever know. I thank you, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream. Remember, you got to keep pushing and believing in yourself. If you don't have a positive thought every 20 minutes, you got to, right? Just keep thinking positive. My next trade's going to be better than the last. I'm going to know more in a year than I know today. If I keep pushing, I'm going to have the education to get me through the tougher times. Repeat these things to yourself. You're worth it. You can, you will, you are the best. If you want to join the trading group, go to cryptolifer.com. Cryptolifer.com and make the move. The secret to success is getting started. Join school, man, and get on in today. I went to St. John's for film school. I am still using the things that I learned in film school today. The camera, the lighting, how to fix the audio in the camera when things go wrong and get it going. The engineering skills, that all came from my film education. So every time I educated myself, I am still using that information to this day. So remember that. I just want to, get an education, educate yourself. I'm offering education. Find education wherever you can. Pay for education. Invest in yourself. You can buy coats. You can buy meals. People drink hundreds of dollars worth of alcohol a month, but they won't invest in themselves. It's amazing. People will spend more money on vacations than they will on their financial education. It's crazy. Or, what Jim Rohn says, they'll spend more time planning planning a vacation than they will planning their own life. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Plan out your life. Get yourself some discipline. Work out every single day and show up. I love you all. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the flip side. I leave almost every live stream, probably 95%, with the same thing. I say, you know what the secret to success is? Do you know what it is? There's a secret to success. It's crazy, right? People get really haven't watched the live stream. Are like, oh my God, he's going to give us the secret to success. I figured it out. Like, I found success, and I know I'm going to continue to be successful. I know that in my heart and soul, and I believe it. I deserve it. I work hard every day. What is the secret to success? It's getting started. You're not going to be great to start, but you got to start to be great. How are you going to be great if you don't start? You got to start somewhere. The secret to success is getting started.